What's up, everyone? Time for a review of the fourth commercial studio album and fifth album overall by rapper Kendrick Lamar. This new album is titled Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This is an album that comes 5 years after Kendrick's last record, Damn. And to say that the past 5 years have been easy for Kendrick Lamar would be an understatement. He, of course, had the Damn World Tour, which lasted from 2017 to 2018. He was very involved in the Black Panther soundtrack, having the #1 hit, All of the Stars, with SZA. And then he just needed some time off. And of course, there was the tragic death of his good friend and really a big brother in his eyes, Nipsey Hussle. That death obviously impacted Kendrick a lot, as he even contemplated not even continuing music. He thought, can I even go on without having this support there, this person in my life who is so influential? And that really makes this album his most personal since his first major label album, Good Kid, M.A.A.D City, in 2012. I've been a fan of Kendrick Lamar since 2016 when I first heard To Pimp a Butterfly. I, of course, loved Humble and the songs that followed, but this album was a very hard one to get into for me. I found myself getting bored and annoyed with a lot of this record, as I wasn't hearing what I wanted to. I wasn't hearing the sharp production for the longest time. But this is not one of those albums that you have to look into the production. This is strictly a songwriting album. Yes, there are some nice beats. Yes, there are some groove jams on here. But this is mostly one of Kendrick's strongest songwriting efforts to date, as this is really him just tearing apart himself, placing him into these songs, and is just breaking down. As we saw on the album cover, he is now a father of 2 children, something he kept very private. And it's almost interesting, this artwork speaks many things to me. You see obviously him with the crown of thorns and with a gun in the back, his back pocket, almost as if he's the provider and the defender of his family. And it's so crazy that he's almost 35 years old now. As many of us remember when he was the young kid from Compton, just coming up in the scene. And it's just such a drastic tonal shift between this album and Damn. Obviously, Damn was a very political record. He got onto it with songs like the lead-off track Blood, where he went after Fox News. He, of course, had DNA, Loyalty, and Humble. But this album does see some of that in here, but it's, as I said, more of a personal record for Kendrick. These aren't songs that are going to be anthems for that reason, but they could be personal anthems. A lot of these songs are very heartbreaking yet uplifting at the same time. We got The Heart Part 5, the non-album single he releases every year, which was just an incredible track, sampling the Marvin Gaye song and having many different narratives to it. He called out some people like Jussie Smollett, and then he had tribute to both Kobe and Nipsey, kind of poked fun at his friend Kanye, put OJ on blast, just put different people on blast while putting it all back on himself. And on this record, I really feel like Kendrick is kind of taking a look at the world. As he says on the opening track, United in Grief, he's been gone from music for almost 1,900 days. I mean, that's, 5.5 years almost since, he really came back into the scene. And he really talks about that here, about how he's been gone so long, but he's had all these experiences that have changed him in so many ways. And I really love the way this song just starts with this beautiful choral, and then that break beat, it's hard to explain, kind of like an Afro breakbeat comes in. And it just really, the way he's rapping so fast on this track just really gets drilled into your mind. Then we go into N95, a song that I have to admit I wasn't keen on the first time I heard it. But really, the more you listen to this song, I feel you really get what Kendrick is trying to say. Almost as if taking off the mask, not just for COVID, but really just taking off yourself in many places. This is Kendrick unmasking himself to the world. He's showing his true self, something he hasn't been able to do since his last record. And obviously, as I said, it's been a while since he's released music. And that's the big thing about this album, is that the themes, I feel, are really strong. There's everything from themes about suicide on some of these songs, to fatherhood, obviously, to Kendrick's own family. And that really comes into the beautiful, heartbreaking song Mother I Sober, a song that is Kendrick just looking back at his troubled childhood. And it's one that just breaks you down emotionally as he sings these lyrics about how he wishes that his life would have almost, he could remember just the good things, I guess, about his childhood. He sings about this. If only the good things remained. And it really just, it gets to you emotionally. He talks about addiction and all the problems he had with crime growing up. Again, in a way that I feel he hasn't expressed since Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. And then there's, of course, the song Worldwide Steppers, which is almost two songs in one. Again, this is one of Kendrick kind of setting the tone for his kids. I want to be there for my kids when I'm as much as I can and try and guide them as they grow up. But then we get a look into Kendrick's past again as he talks about how he was racially profiled by one of his ex-girlfriend's dads. And he just goes into all this different stuff, his run-ins with the cops. And obviously you can definitely put that to America today with the Black Lives Matter protests of the past 2 years. But this one, it just feels so much personal for Kendrick to go into these things. I especially love the track Rich Spirit. Love the way the beat flows on that one. I think it has some of Kendrick's best verses, singing about the richness in himself. However, there are a few hang-ups on this record that I really feel aren't as strong as they were as previous releases. Now, obviously, the interludes I don't feel are as essential on this album, like Rich. Kind of just is there. I could take it or leave it. Doesn't really have anything essential to say, in my opinion. And I, of course, have to talk about the overblown track, We Cry Together. I understand the sentiment of this song kind of framing an argument between a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a baby mama, baby daddy, whatever you want to say. And it's a very interesting song to listen to, but also maybe just goes on a little bit 2 minutes too long. I understand it's not something that you're supposed to just jam in your car to listen to. And I think Taylor Page, the featured vocalist on this track, she does do a good job. But again, it just feels like it's a little bit too long. And then there's the weird part when they go from arguing to having sex with each other at the end of the song that I was just like, huh? But other than that song and some of the interludes, this is a very strong record. The last track I want to talk about is the closing track, Mirror. This is one that I really feel is Kendrick expressing himself again. He wants to show himself through. And it's really just, you have to again take into consideration of how long Kendrick Lamar has been gone. The world is a very different place since Damn was released in 2017. Not just with society, but technological advances as well. The rap game has changed as well. And Kendrick is really saying, be the mirror inside me. And I really feel like Kendrick is breaking himself apart yet again. And the instrumental on this song is just gorgeous. I love this one to death. Had me choking up near the end, and I definitely think it's a very sweet closing track to this album. Now, another song I want to quickly speak about is Die Hard. This is another one that I didn't like as much when I first heard it, but then the more I listened to this one, it had kind of a swaying throwback beat to it a little bit that I really dug. Almost reminded me a little bit of the T-Pab days. I really dug this one the more I listened to it. All in all, guys, I'm just going to say, is this up there with Good Kid, M.A.A.D City and Pimp a Butterfly? Not in my opinion. I don't think it's as strong as those two. It might be on par with Damn, but I don't feel it's quite gotten to that echelon in my opinion. This is definitely an interesting album for fans of Kendrick Lamar, and I can see this having some very divisive opinions upon fans. But it seems like a lot of fans are really enjoying this record and are really connecting with it, which is nice to see. This album definitely took me some time to get into, but I'm happy I sat down and did this review. Excuse me. And all in all, I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Let me know what you guys think of this album in the comment section below. Give me your favorite song, and I'll be back with more after this.